Alright, welcome everyone to my long overdue and promised video going over the hand signals that I've been taught and that I've adapted slightly to help myself and then hopefully help you memorize your 12 cranial nerves. I'm going to preface this video by saying I'm not going to go over like the pathways or everything about each cranial nerve. If you would like to know more, feel free to do your own research, ask me questions, and I'm sure Kevin goes through a lot more during a lecture. But this video is primarily just to help you memorize the name, the Roman numeral or the number, and then also the function of each of our 12 cranial nerves. And with that, I'm just going to jump right into our first cranial nerve, the olfactory nerve. This is a sensory nerve. The hand signal is very simple. You're just going to take one finger and touch your nose. Okay? Olfactory, nose. Got it. It's easy. Okay, now on to cranial nerve number 2. So cranial nerve number 2 is the optic nerve, and this is a purely sensory nerve, so it has to do with your sense of sight, but it doesn't have to do with any of your eye movement. We're going to cover eye movement in 3 other cranial nerves. But the hand signal for this, take these 2 fingers, just look at your eyes, okay? Sense of sight, look at something, okay, you're good. Easy, once again. They get a little bit more complicated as we move on. Okay, number 3 is your ocular motor nerve. So very similar to your optic nerve, your ocular motor nerve is going to take these same 2 fingers, you're going to point them at your eyes, and you're going to add in a 3rd finger, and you are going to follow that finger, okay, like you're getting an eye exam, okay? Also, approach, get further away, focus on your finger, because this is the motor nerve that has to do with the majority of your eye movement, as well as the sphincter muscles in your iris that dilate and then shrink your pupil as well. So again, this is going to be the majority of your eye movement, and then also the dilation of your pupils when you're focusing on something. Okay, motor nerve, pretty simple still. We're going to move on. Okay, so your cranial nerve number 4 is your trochlear nerve. Now, this nerve might be a little bit easier to understand my hand signal if you actually look up a diagram of eye muscles, but trochlear nerve, cranial nerve number 4, innervates your superior oblique muscles in your eye. Now, every diagram that I've looked at, or most of them, has like a pulley looking thing. It has like a ring, and for some reason trochlea reminds me of pulley. That might actually be like Latin for something. I don't know. I can't remember why I made that association, but when I think trochlea, I think pulley. Might also be completely false, so don't take my word on that. But trochlea, okay, for your trochlear nerve, you're going to take 3 fingers in this hand, and your 4th finger is going to be this finger, okay? Now, you are going to make that ring, like that pulley, and then you're going to put this 4th finger in like a rope, okay? Pretty simple. Okay, so if you look at a diagram of the muscles of the eye, the superior oblique, like I said, passes through a ring-like structure, and it makes sense when you think about like pulleys make it easier to lift and lower things. So your superior oblique eye muscles are going to enable you to look down. So when you're walking downstairs, when you're looking down at your feet, any of that stuff, that's going to be your trochlear nerve, which is, again, strictly a motor nerve. Okay? All right, moving on to cranial nerve number 5, your trigeminal nerve. This is a little confusing, and I'm going to divide it up into 2 parts because it is both sensory and motor. So for your sensory part, you're going to take 3 fingers in this hand, okay? So 3 fingers in this hand represent the 3 pathways of the trigeminal nerve. Your ophthalmic pathway, your maxillary pathway, and then your mandibular. And then what I like to do is I like to just lightly brush over my face, okay? because this has to do with your sense of touch on each of those pathways. Okay. Now it's cranial nerve number 5, so you have 2 more fingers that you need to incorporate, and the trigeminal nerve also innervates your muscles of mastication, and then I guess your teeth as well. And so what I do is I take these 3, right? These are your 3 pathways, okay? And now these 2 fingers just point at your most superficial and your largest muscles of mastication, your temporalis and your masseter, okay? That's where the 5 fingers come in. So trigeminal nerve, sense of touch on your face, and also innervates your muscles of mastication, so chewing and eating. All right. Moving on to your 3rd and final motor nerve of eye movement. This is cranial nerve number 6, your abducens. So what you're going to do for the hand signals on this one is you're going to take 3 fingers in each hand, okay? Now you are going to pretend like you're pulling your eyes apart. I wish I could like move my eyes in each direction. That would make this video funnier and possibly even more educational, but I can't. Just imagine that you are like, I always think like I'm abducting my eyes, so I'm moving them like further away from each other. So again, take 3 fingers in each hand, pull apart those eyes. Abducens nerve. Again, strictly motor. Okay, moving on to cranial nerve number 7, your facial nerve. This is another one that's a little confusing, so stick with me on this one. This is both sensory and motor. So what you're going to do is you're going to take 5 fingers in one hand, and then you are going to take 2 fingers in this hand, and make sure it's these 2 fingers. I mean, I guess you could do any 2 fingers. I like these 2 fingers though. Okay, so for the facial nerve, what you're going to do is you're going to cover your entire face, and then these 2 fingers are also just going to grab your anterior 2/3 portion of your tongue. Okay, so your facial nerve is your nerve that innervates all your muscles of facial expression. So again, that's why you cover your whole face. It has, like when you smile, when you blow up your cheeks, anything that has to do with facial expression, that's the facial nerve. It is not, don't get it mixed up with sensory, because most of the sensory aspect of like your face, that's trigeminal. I always mix that up for some reason, so don't do that. Facial nerve is facial expression. Just make that correlation. Also, your facial nerve has to do with like production of tears, also when you get like runny noses, and then when you drool. So I just kind of remember like kind of all the liquids that can come out of your face. That also has to do with your facial nerve. Okay, and then where you're grabbing your anterior 2/3 of your tongue, that's because your facial nerve is also a sensory nerve, right? Because it is both sensory and motor, but it has to do with strictly your anterior 2/3 of your tongue, so the taste on just that part of your tongue. And that's it for that one. So again, just run through it really quickly. Cover your entire face with your hand, and then grab the tip of your tongue, the anterior 2/3 of your tongue. Okay, moving on to cranial nerve number 8. So this is the vestibular cochlear nerve, and this is a strictly sensory nerve. So you're going to take 4 fingers in each hand. You are going to cover your ears, so that's where your sense of hearing comes in, and then you are going to shake your head. So the vestibular cochlear nerve not only has to do with your sense of hearing, but also equilibrium. So when you shake your head a lot, you can get dizzy and like kind of disoriented. But your vestibular cochlear nerve helps you to realign that equilibrium, I guess. Again, 4 fingers each hand, cover your ears, use those 8 fingers to shake your head. All right, moving on to your glossopharyngeal nerve. Your glossopharyngeal nerve is both sensory and a motor has both sensory and motor components to it. So what you're going to do is you're going to take 5 fingers in one hand and 4 fingers in the other. Okay. Now with the 5 fingers, you are going to cover your entire throat. Okay, like you're being choked. So this is where your pharyngeal portion of your glossopharyngeal nerve comes in. It is going to innervate your parotoid, salivary gland, along with the vagus nerve, which we'll cover. It also innervates the muscles that aid in swallowing food. So that's why you cover your throat. Again, 5 on your throat. Okay. Now with the other 4 remaining for cranial nerve number 9, what you're going to do is you are going to gag yourself. Okay. So stick these 4 fingers in. You don't actually have to do this. Just remember that you're inserting these 4 fingers into your mouth, and you are going to reach all the way back to that posterior 1/3 portion of your tongue. So again, both motor comes in with those muscles of like the neck that aid you in swallowing, and then also your sensory component comes in with that sense of taste in the back posterior 1/3 portion of your tongue. Okay, cranial nerve number 10, your vagus nerve. So your vagus nerve, what you're going to do is you're going to take all 10 fingers. This is both sensory and motor. And you are going to show off your entire body. Okay, so with all 10 fingers, again, show off your entire body. That your vagus nerve, everything that it touches, like from your neck, from your larynx, pharynx, esophagus, all the way down through your digestive tract, and then as well as like your other organs, like your heart and your lungs. Your vagus nerve is gonna do all of that. Yeah, just remember 10 nerves, organs in your body, digestive tract, does as well touch like your pharynx, your esophagus, and things in your neck as well. So just start at your neck and then move all the way down. Okay. All right, moving on to cranial nerve number 11. Now for this one, we're going to jump back to just using 2 fingers, but it's going to be 1 and 1, so 11. Okay. So cranial nerve number 11 is a motor nerve, and that is your accessory nerve. So a necklace is an accessory that you can wear. And where does a necklace sit? On your traps, and it follows your sternocleidomastoid down. Okay? So again, a necklace, an accessory, follows your sternocleidomastoid and then also touches your trapezius. Okay? Motor nerve moves those muscles. Okay? All right, and your very last nerve, your hypoglossal nerve. So this one's a little silly. Bear with me on this. But the way that I remember this, once again, is you're going to take 1 finger on one hand and 2 on the other. And I guess I'll jump back. Don't get, like, just because I use 2 fingers for the accessory nerve, don't get that confused with your optic nerve. Different hand signs, okay? This one also is only going to use 3 fingers, but instead of your ocular motor nerve, these 3 fingers, you're going to use same thing, your index, and then your digit number 1, and then digit number 2 on your other hand, okay? So these 3 fingers, 1 and 2, makes 12. Good thing I'm an anatomy TA and not like math. Anyway, with these 3 fingers that you're going to imagine is 12, what you are going to do is you're going to grab your tongue, and then you are going to point at your tongue while you're grabbing it, like you're scolding it, like your parents would scold you, okay? Again, grab your tongue, hold it in place, and then point at it. The reason for this is the hypoglossal nerve, cranial nerve number 12, has to do with all of that tongue movement. So the way that I memorize is I think like my tongue's moving everywhere, it's out of control, so I gotta grab it and then I gotta scold it and yell at it, tell it to stop moving. Okay, again, hypoglossal nerve is a motor nerve that moves the tongue. So 1 and 2, or 1 and 2, and you're gonna grab it and then point at it and say stop moving. Okay. All right, so those are the 12 cranial nerves and all of their hand signals. I'm going to run through them really fast again, just for you all as like a little review, and then just practice these hand signals yourself. And it should help you memorize them well enough that you'll be able to answer the questions for the exam. But with that, jumping back to number 1, olfactory, optic, ocular motor, trochlear, trigeminal, abducens, facial, okay, facial, and then 8, vestibular cochlear, shake that head. 9 is your glossopharyngeal, so again. 10 is your vagus, okay, vagus nerve, show off your body. 11 is your accessory, follow that sternocleidomastoid down, and then make sure you touch your traps as well, your trapezius. And then number 12 is the hypoglossal nerve. Grab your tongue, point at it. Okay. All right. I hope this helps you all. I say it in almost every single one of my labs, but the crazier or the funnier of things you come up with, right, the more they're going to stick with you. So if you would like to adapt these, feel free. This is just an idea, something that worked well for me in memorizing all of those cranial nerves. Good luck studying. I hope you all do well on lab exam number 3. See ya.